Good morning, good chodesh, everybody. We're in Bava Kama, Daf Tzadi Ches Amud Aleph. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Tzadi Ches Amud Aleph, Rosh Chodesh Iyar, Lamed Nisan. Tzadi Ches Amud Aleph is all about Garmey, and we are supposed to start with the words V'omer Rabba. V'omer Rabba Sorev Shtar Shel Chaveroi. Yeah, the penultimate line, the second to last line, Omer Rabba. But before we start that, we have some questions to answer. So last week on Thursday, the previous year, somebody by the name of me, I had a question about the Gemara. Yeah. Basically, I just want to review and recap with you the past few cases that we had in the Gemara. Yeah. We had Rabba. Rabba has a few statements that he made, and he seems to be lenient in the area of Nezikin. One statement was, if a person takes someone's coin, and he basically defaces the coin, but everything else remains intact, which means he did not chip off a piece of the coin. He changed the form of the coin, so you don't have the word shekel on it, you don't have a queen on it, you don't have a monkey on it, whichever country. Yeah, you don't have what's on the coin. Yeah, some places there's a monkey on the coin. So he doesn't have that, says Rabba, is potul. Is potul. Why? Because this is not considered hezek because he didn't take anything away. We have to understand that. Okay. And then what did Rabba say? Another statement, which according to Rashi, l'choiro seems to be not connected. He's made another statement. The statement was, what's halacha if someone slits a little bit, makes a small slit in the ear of someone's cow? He's having a cow. So he said, no, you're potter. Why? Because for regular consumption, it's not considered as treifa, just because it has a little bit of, the ear is not exactly, perfect. This cow is not supposed to be a model, the cover cow in the magazine. So who cares if it has a small slit? Elamai for kochim. Kochim, so the Gemara says, well, most people don't use the cows for kochim. Yeah, kochim is not really on your mind. Yeah, okay. So then I asked the question, and the question apparently is a valid question. The question is, what do you mean? For this person, he could say, it's true that 90% of the use or 95% of the use of a cow is not for kochim, but it's true that now I cannot bring it to kochim anymore. I can't use it for kochim. So why isn't that a little bit of an hezek? So pay me a little bit for that potential question. Then I'm leaving those questions on the side on purpose. Yeah. Now came the third thing that made me annoyed. And that was the Gemara compared the case of the cow that has a small blemish in the ear to a person who, and by the way, we explained it already, but kochim you don't care about. Kochim is out of a realm. We don't think of kochim in everyday life. Okay. So then the Gemara asked the question. The Gemara said, what about a person who uses someone's cow? Someone has a red, not a cow, a red heifer, and the red heifer, the red cow, you should not work with, and the person worked with a cow, or he made avoido, he worked with ma'im chaim, here, ma'im chaim al keli. He took the ma'im chaim, the water from the spring, that are kosher for pora aduma, to sprinkle the ashes that you put on that water, and that water you're not supposed to work with, and the person worked with the water. And then the Gemara asks the question, you see that it's potur because it's an invisible nezek. The Gemara challenged Rabba, it's only because it's invisible, because the water before and after the use look exactly the same. The Gemara said, who cares it's invisible? You should be potur anyways. Because why? Because it's only kochim. Because when it comes to Pora Aduma, who thinks about kochim? Nobody thinks about kochim when it comes to Pora Aduma, and that was the challenge against Rabba. I asked the third question, and that's really Tosfos's question. What? On Pora Aduma, you want to tell me that the person doesn't have in his mind, an owner of Pora Aduma, doesn't think that maybe he'll sell the Pora Aduma to be Kodshim, to be a Pora Aduma, to be shechted in Har Hazeisim? What?
The only reason.
Well, of course. He's an idiot, gomur, excuse my language, if he doesn't take his completely kosher red heifer, red cow, and not use it for the right thing. Of course, no, he could, in theory, repair it. He could say, I don't care about Pora Aduma. I don't know, the guy's an atheist, I don't know what. and just use it to plow his field and maybe take some nice photos. Take some photos for the social media. But of course, every person with his right mind who's not colorblind, such a person, of course, will use a pora aduma for pora aduma. So how do you compare that? Maybe by a regular cow, you can say, listen, buddy, because it did a small slit in the ear, doesn't mean that I'm really mazik, because who said you're going to use your cow for that? Yeah. So really, Tosas answers or other Rishonim answer, they say, enochinami. The question is not from pora aduma, the question is from the water. The water used for pora aduma is regular water from the spring. Regular water from the spring, before you place the ashes on the water, are regular water. Regular spring water, a lot of people drink them. A lot of people use them for anything. And therefore, this water, which is drawn from a regular river, that is not tafka for the usage of kochim. And therefore, if somebody did a thing with them, you use them as weights, then that's comparable to regular poro or regular cow, which I may not necessarily use for korban, for a sacrifice for korban. Still, my first questions are still there. Lamaisa, you're machzir from my. I disagree. Not disagree. I can't disagree with Rashi. Of course, I'm asking a question. Still, there's a certain level of usage here, of potential use. Now my cow is kosher for plowing. It's a very nice potential barbecue for those who barbecue on Thursday. Well, yeah, I don't yet. So then it's all very nice. But for kochim, I can't use it. Maybe I want to use it for kochim. You're going to tell me what I'm going to use it for? Answers the Tosas read. Baruch Hashem. Answers the Tosas read, a beautiful answer that takes us throughout the entire sugi. Rabba is a big believer in Garmey or Grama, Garmey even. That if the person, let me restart. When you ask a 3 years old, yeah, let's say you took the coin which has the face of the Queen of England on it, yeah. Now it defaced it illegally. Now it doesn't have the shape. They won't accept it anymore, right? They can't accept it anymore anywhere. So when you ask a 3 years old who doesn't know anything about money, you'll ask him, "Is this a nice coin?" Yes. Meaning the coin was not defaced. The coin was not chipped off or chopped off. The coin is really the same amount of silver there or copper. Elamai, it has a different shape. Who decided the shape is important? People, the market, the Bank of England. They decided that this shape of the queen is important for this coin to be used as a coin. Who decided that a cow with a small slit is not good for the Mizbeach? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The cow alone, you tell Tim McKenzie, is this a nice cow? That's a very nice cow for me. Yeah. In other words, there's an exterior factor here. Either it's the Bank of England or it's the Hekdesh of Beis Hamikdash that make this animal or this coin disqualified. But it's not a physical thing. Even though it's physical, it's not really physical. Because a coin that doesn't have the face of the queen it looks different. It's not missing anything. Instead of the shape of the queen, I made the shape of a dog. I don't know what, Dogecoin, a dog. So what? Also a nice face. LMI. They don't accept it in the bank. That's the bank's problem, so to speak. So Rabba says this is not physical enough to be called hezek biyadayim. That's called Garmey. Garmey means I do something with my hands. I change something with my hands. But the hezek is a zaytedika thing. It's a side thing. It's a bit hard to grasp because you say it's not a side thing. It's the coin. Yeah. But the Maisa, the coin has this shape because people decided so. It's an outside factor that decided it. I'm elaborating a lot. I'm adding a lot to the Tosas read. But his lashon, if I remember correctly, the lashon is psul mizbeach grama be'almahu. The fact that the mizbeach disqualifies it is a grama. It's a nice animal. It's a good animal. You can shecht it. You can work with it. You can play with it. You can barbecue it. You can sell it. You can be mekadesh a woman with a cow. Harat mekudesh asli beporozu. You can do that. Of course, the bride will be happy. Yeah, there is no shal. You can do whatever you want with it. Elamai the mizbeach. It's not a physical thing. It's a metaphysical thing. Mimele Rabba sees that as Grama, or maybe Garmey. We're going to talk about Grama and Garmey later. And that takes us to the next sugya too. Now everything is good. And by the way, now it's also very good because now there's a connection between the two sugyas. Beforehand, we thought it's two separate sugyas, nothing to do with each other. You have a sugya of damaging a coin, and that's kilu what? It's not hezek biyadayim. And then you talk about mizbeach, and you say, who cares? You're not going to give it to mizbeach anyways. But according to Tosas read, it's very nice because it's really all the same sugya. According to Tosas read, it's really all one thing through and through. Both issues of the coin and the cow Yeah, they both start with a C. And also, they both have to do with the fact that there's an outside factor that made it less valuable. Outside factor, says Rabba, that's not nice to do. And Hashem is very angry with you, Mr. Mazit. And what? You possul edus, says the Meiri, but Beis Din don't have the power to charge you for that hezek because it's not physical enough. It's physical, of course. Of course, they did something to the coin and to the cow, but it's not physical. It's physical because of that physical change. The Bank of England decided it's not nice, or Beis Hamikdash decided it's not nice. Questions, and then we start the shiur. He was at a minute for you. Yes, Viter, I'm listening to your question. Yeah, we are now, whether you notice it or not, we are now, as soon the Gemara is going to reveal it openly, we're now in the midst of the most important sugya, which Sfarim were written on it, and I think one of the longest Simanim Shulchan Aruch in the Noise Kelim. There's a lot of stuff written in this. This is called Garmey. Garmey is the gray area between Grama and Maaseh B'Yadayim. Grama means something completely indirect. Yeah, as I gave you the example many times, Luciano makes a phone call and says, you kill someone, you steal from someone, Garmey. He didn't touch anything, anybody. His hands are clean and his Italian suits is very nice. That's Grama. Maaseh B'Yadayim, Yadayim, you kill, you steal, you cut, you take away, you snap, you schlep. That's Maaseh B'Yadayim. Garmey is the gray area. And when Garmey is a gray area, and soon we're going to define it, Baruch Hashem, Garmey is something which is partially B'Yadayim, partially not B'Yadayim. For example, if I disfigured the coin, not completely, but now the coin is not worth as much as it was before, the consequence, the results are terrible. The coin was worth, I don't know, a lot of money. Now it's not worth that amount of money. No question, the results are terrible. In halacha, we do not only look at the results, we look at the ma'isa. Since the ma'isa, according to Rabba, can be disengaged from the result, because really, it's between me and the ma'isa is the Bank of England. They decide that this is not a good coin. Or the collectors, in their stupidity, they decided that if some poster of the movies from the 50s had a mistake on it, it's another pay millions. That's actually a good example. I appreciate you brought this example. Stupidity is on there, not on there. Yeah. So that shows it's all in your, like you're saying, it's all in our minds. So the Bank of England or Bank of America are very respectable institutions, and collectors want to collect the Beatles posters with the point and a dot in the corner. A bunch of Michigan is. It's still worth $1 million in the market. So it's all in our minds. Says Rabba, that's not called real hezek. You're going to get $1 million less. It's all up there in our minds. So the ma'isa, according to Rabba, that's called disengaged enough to be called Garmey and be called not chayiv to pay, even though the results, the consequences are a loss. Thank you for the question, and I'm glad we have a clear definition. Soon we're going to define it even better. Be'ezras Hashem. Daf Chavav, you remember Chavav? I think it was Chavav there, yeah. Very good. That's where I spoke about it. I'm impressed. Daf Chavav Amud basis was spoke with Garmey. We're going to talk. Wow. Good memory. Yeah. We're going to talk about Daf Chavav Amud basis also. What? What's that?
Back then was definition 101, meaning more physical, more related. This much more Yomi, much more up, shtar. It's more disconnected, more ethereal.
Right. Ethereal, yeah. We're going to connect everything soon with Hashem's help. Here comes the most famous line. Here comes. I'm excited. We're going to see a line now, which is the Garmey line, the world's most famous Garmey line. This is the poster. A person burnt biyadayim. He took the matches, he took the lighter, and he burnt his friend's shtar. Shtar is a shtar. I would say it's like a check of today, although checks are also slowly disappearing. Yeah, a self shtar shel chaveroi. Reuven owes money to Shimon. It says, my name is Shimon. Hello, my name is Shimon. I have a shtar from Reuven. It says that Reuven owes me how much? How much does Reuven owe me? Yeah, 1,000 shekels. Small amounts. Yeah, 1,000 shekels is owned by me, not by me, to me. by Reuven, and it says so in the shtar. Came Levi. Levi is the naughty boy, and Levi burnt it with his own bare hands. Batul is batul. He is exempt from Beis Din. The Beis Din will not tell him to pay the 1,000 shekels. Ah, but he did a ma'aseh b'yadayim. Mazid. He says, I hate your guts and I'm going to burn your check. Okay. Okay. That's what Levi said. And he's a mean guy. So he's Patu. Why? He tells him, Levi tells Shimon, the victim, all I burnt was a piece of paper. Of course, you guys should understand it now. Why? This is classical Garmey. Then Maisa was Maisa b'yadayim. I'm giving you one Garmey definition already now. Ooh, here it comes. And this is like we had with the story of the rug under the guy. The Maisa is physical, but is the paper worth 1,000 shekels? No. That piece of paper is worth 0.0 agorot. It's one of these A4 papers, the regular ones. It's worth 0.0 agorah maybe. And it says that paper bears in it is the key to the safe. Did you hear what I said? It's like a key to a safe. Let's say I have a safe. Yeah, safe box, a safe with diamonds and gold nuggets worth 5 million. And the key is like old cranky key, old style safe. Yeah, nothing electronic, no codes, just the key. Okay, so that key is worth millions. Mapitom, the key is worth 2 shekels. Yeah, in other words, the shtar is only a way for me to prove to Reuven that Reuven should dish out 1,000 shekels and should jolly well give me the 1,000 shekels. But the shtar itself is not worth 1,000 shekels. You can say it also by money, by the way, but the shtar all the more so. But Baruch was right. Even the 100 pounds. No, that I didn't say. No, I didn't say that. And Rabba doesn't say that either. But Baruch did say that it's true the money is only agreed upon, as we said before. Look at why is lira not worth? Why would people kill themselves for a lirot on the 60s, 70s, and today? No, because it's all a government decision, which mainly becomes a social decision, right? So leave money alone. Shtar is all the more so. Shtar is just a personal thing. That shtar doesn't have 1,000 shekels in it. It's the key. It's the ways, the means to an end. It's an access to the 1,000 shekels, which hopefully Reuven will finally give me. No question. 5 minutes, no question. We're in the middle of a thing. Well, I'll hear a question soon. So now that's the word of Garmey. One definition of Garmey, listen, it's very easy. Yeah, I wish all of Garmey was that easy. You're doing ma'aseh b'yadayim. However, the result is not immediate. Why? Because I burnt it, now I cannot go to Reuven who owes me 1,000 shekels. The 1,000 shekels in the drawer of Reuven, that's what's owed to me. The shtar is only means to get there. So I did ma'aseh b'yadayim, but the result is not immediate. The result is now I am blocked. The 1,000 shekels of Reuven I can say goodbye to, but the result was not direct. My action was physical, but the result is not a direct result. No, it just blocks me from going to Reuven and demand what I'm owed. Imela said, by the way, of course, some people would say chayiv. That's Rabba's, so to speak, Rabba the Hezek Gamoira. That's his personal opinion. He says Garmey potu. That's how he views it, and others argue. Another definition, by the way, which we got also from the story of the guy that pulled the rug under the guy who's jumping off the roof, and that is another guy under the kli. That was if the result is definite or not. If I know that the result is very, very clear, very near, then I would call it ma'aseh b'yadayim. But 1 second, let me check again. I just want to make sure I wrote it down over there. I want to have it. I don't want to stamp. Bore zeka is Garmey. Yeah, Garmey means when I do something even without my hands, according to some Rishonim. But if I know for sure there's hezek, that's called Garmey. For example, the check. It's not Grama. It's not completely indirect. Because I know that now Reuven is going to say, 1,000 shekels? Which 1,000 shekels? Show me the shtar. Oh, he burnt your shtar? That sounds like Cinderella to me, or maybe, I don't know, Mickey Mouse. Yeah, because we know for sure Reuven will not, or most probably Reuven will not comply. Some people would, but many wouldn't. Mimela, that's called Garmey and not Grama. Let's leave that aside. And if you have a question to get to Mamish, I said now, then fine. Otherwise, no. Yes, and then you continue. Yes, I'm listening. Ask if Rami Bar Kama. Rami Bar Kama now attacks Rabba. Hechidami. Let's take all the drama out of Garmey. Let's say you would say Garmey is chayiv. Still, hey chidami, what is the case exactly where Beis Din, listen to this, think again. Imagine a few people are dayonim, all of you are dayonim. When we learn the Gemara, we have to think we're dayonim without having any emotions and without taking sides. A guy comes to Beis Din and claims that he had a shtar, and he claims, this guy Levi, he drags him to Beis Din, this scum of the earth, he burnt my shtar with 1,000 shekels. What would be your first question? As logical adult male, aid him to what? Prove that he had a shtar. I can also drag you to Beis Din and say, I had a check of $1 million, and Yosef, I'm sorry, taking you as a victim. Yosef burnt $1 million shtar, pay me. What's the story exactly? Before you talk about Garmey, what's the case? It's okay, just like I don't $1 million, you're not going to do it. It's the same non-realistic thing. Frag the Gemara, returning a page, base, Idika Sahadi, if there are Adim, the Yadim might have a Bishtoro. If you have two Adim, if Reuven has two Adim, their names are Binyamin and Yosef. Oh, I came to Beis Din prepared. Benjamin and Joseph, my respectable Adim, big white beards and big black kippot and big Talmid Chachamim and big things. I'm joking. Big kosher Adim, and they say that they saw the shtar. Reuven owes me 1,000 shekels. Then why are you in Beis Din, honey? Then he can go home. Lichtevulei shtar me'alia. Those two Adim, Binyamin and Yosef, can write you a new shtar without even the consent of the borrower. You know why? Because they saw the shtar. If they saw the shtar, I'm now condensing a lot of talk here in the Rishonim. In yeshivas, they say the shtar raid. A shtar, a real good shtar with Adim, with smachta, with all the approvals of Beis Din, it's as if you saw Adim talking. In other words, if the two Adim, Binyamin and Yosef, they saw the shtar, and that shtar was a good shtar, and they read it from top to bottom, and they saw that it's a good shtar, and Reuven owes me 1,000, and it's signed, they can now write a new shtar based on that, and finished.
Saw it or they signed it?
No, even if they saw it without signing it. That's a chiddush, and it's a whole thing in the Rishonim. I wish I had more time to explain more, but I already had enough lomdus for today, I think. Basically, if the Adim saw, it's as if they saw them talking in Beis Din. And if two Adim see other Adim talking in Beis Din, they can say to another Beis Din, we saw those Adim talking. Yes, that's what the Tosfos read says. I don't have time to go into it, but yes. So Mimela, why are you crying to me like a baby? What do you want? If you have Adim, take your Adim. They are good Adim, Binyamin and Yosef. We grilled them. We know that they're good in kosher and the Mehadrin. They should write you a shtar and write, we saw that Reuven has a shtar, They can write shtar written over shtar is absolutely kosher. So what do you want from our lives? The Ideleka Sahadi, if there are no Adim, a non-minayadina, then how do we know? I had a shtar $1 million, my name is, I don't know, what Bill Gates, he forgot Makesha. He can tell me tall tales. How do we know that you're right? So Mimela, what's B'chlal this story? Before we talk about Garmey, what's the case B'chlal? Amarove, and for Tove, Te b'ma'aminoi, tehe. We must talk about, let it be b'ma'aminoi, that he believes in. What does it mean he believes in? Says not Rashi. Rashi here is very difficult. Say the Rosh, the Rif, the other Rishonim I saw, they say simple. The one who burnt the shtar says, I'm not arguing with you. 100%. There was a check here of 1,000 shekels. And really, I burnt your shtar, 1,000 shekels. What? I burnt your shtar with 1,000 shekels. He agrees. Levi says, I burnt 1,000 shekels shtar. Live with it. Because my mommy didn't like me enough. That's why I do these things. What can I do? The kids are Lamaisa, says Shimon, says Levi. Yeah, there's no argument. There was 1,000 shekels shtar. When shtar, the star of the show. When do we have to bring Adim when Levi denies and says, no, there was no shtar, he's lying. No, it wasn't 1,000 shekels, it was 1 ruble. But here, no, he says, there was 1,000 shekels. Rashi says in a different place, even more audacious. No, not Rashi. Other Rishonim say, and Levi says, maybe I really owe it to you. Who? Levi says, I burned the shtar, and yes, I think I owe you that money. So you ask, what's the issue? If Levi says, I don't want to give you, I owe it to you, but I don't feel like giving it to you, then Beis Din cannot be mechayev him. That takes us back to the whole concept of Grama and Garmey, which people here, I think, I'm not sure you guys. Let me finish. Listen to the following line. Listen to me, because that's Rashi in somewhere else in Shas. Says Rashi, and this is the holy sod of Garmey and Garmey, which you guys are grappling with. Nobody says that the Garma Garmey guy nice people, but Beis Din, Hashem, the Torah, did not give Beis Din the koyach, the power to extract that money. Which means, although the guy who did the Grama Garmey is a naughty guy, is a bad boy, Beis Din, by definition, are not God, and are limited to their power. Their power is limited. And Hashem told Beis Din, you can only do justice when you see a Maaseh Beyadayim. If you see a Maaseh of Garmey, then Beis Din's power is limited. And that's the story over here. Even if Levi comes and says, yeah, I burned the shtar openly. He's an overt shtar burner. He's not in the closet. He's openly into burning shtars. He parades with all the people who burn shtars. He's very happy that he burns shtars all day long. Still, Beis Din can't do anything about it. Why? Because the Torah didn't give them that koyach. The Torah did not say that to Beis Din you can just do justice with everybody. All you people do Maaseh B'yadayim Yadayim. But Yadayim Garmey, according to Rabba, not according to everyone, that gray area, the hezek is not direct enough in your face. Mimele Beis Din are limited. So even if Levi admits that that's what he did, still we're putter. Wow. I'm so wowed. Yeah. Said it. That's how do we pass about Garmey? That's like asking like proving to a Chiloni about the Torah. That we can spend 5 hours about how we pass about Garmey. To be honest, I don't know. I got so confused because there are so many opinions and stories, and what's Garmey? It's like a whole jungle. So I really don't know. Okay, that to be honest with you. I'm being honest with you now. I don't remember the maskana. It's a very, very big issue how we're passing regarding Garmey. Maaseh B'yadayim, no. Yes. Grama, no. Garmey is a big story. I don't remember in one line. I don't think I can tell in one line, yes, no, but maybe I should look into it again. Okay, so far, questions, quick ones, quick to the point questions, yes or no? We're going to talk about your point later. Amar Avdimi bar Chanina. Rabba, that point of Rabba, he wants to give Rabba's concept of Garmey a different flavor. Machloekes Rab Shimon v'Rabbanon he. It's a machloekes really between Rab Shimon and Rabbanon, which means Rabba is Rabba and a Moira or a Tana. Moira. Rabba's concept is really up to machloekes between earlier people, the Tanoim. It's really up to machloekes Shimon and Rabbanon, which has to do with our Mishnah from before. How did I compare? What was my comparison of the check of the shtar? I compared it, I think, Baruch Hashem, correctly, the key to the safe, or the card to the safe. With Bitcoin, with what's his name, with virtual coins. Yeah, it's very important to have some kind of code or something. There's a code. If you forgot the code, you lost millions of dollars potentially. It happened, I know. Yeah. So Mimela, not to me. So now, this is the key to the safe. That's a shtar. I could call it Dovar Hagoyrem Lemomoy, something that causes money, something that brings about money. Yeah, like a button. Yeah, something that triggers off money, which means Rabbi Shimon the Omar. Rabbi Shimon says Dovar Hagoyrem Lemomoy Kemomoy Dami Mechayev. Yeah, Rabbi Shimon says, let's have something that's not worth anything almost, but it's Goyrem Lemomoy. It can save me money. It can save me money or can get me money, even though the thing itself is not worth money. Says Rab Shimon, dami. That's considered like money itself. Yeah. I'll give you a very good example. Very good example. Yeah. Did you celebrate the traditional Passover holiday? Yeah. You very nice. So now in the traditional Passover holiday, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it says in the Jewish religion not to use during Passover something called chametz or something like that. No, chametz, yeah. Vague memories from public school, from Sunday school. So let's say the person has a chametz and he stole chametz. We've been to this case many times. I stole a jar of cookies from somebody from before Pesach and I returned it to him after Pesach. So can I just say, here are your cookies, go jump in the chametz lake? Yes or no? What's machloekes? Some people say yes, because this is hezek shenonito. It's an invisible hezek. It's not something visible. It's not only, but it's only the Torah sits on those cookies, making them worth how much? How much are these cookies worth now? 0 chametz. So now you're returning me 0. But because it's the same cookies physically, I can return them to the person. Let's say comes now a story machlokes between Reb Shimon and Rabbanon. What would be if the Ganav stole the cookies, then come another well-wisher, and you know what he did? He burnt those cookies. He burnt the cookies when? After Pesach, not Bisman Biur Chometz. After Pesach, he came and he burnt it. Okay? So then what do we say? He's a good boy, but now the Ganav can say, listen, the owner of the cookies goes to the Ganav and says, where are my cookies? So now, if the Ganav has the cookies in his hands, he can say, here are your cookies, worth 0, but physically they're the same. Same cookies were worth 20 shekels before. Go take them, harei shelcho lefanecha, as we keep saying, and go jump. Now, once those cookies were burnt by someone, then the Ganav has to give him 30 shekels. Get it? If the Ganav doesn't have the actual cookies in his hands, then the victim of the Gneva can say, where are my cookies? And the Ganav will say, oh, they're burnt. They're burnt. Give me money. So you know what happened now? The one who burnt the cookies while they were by the Ganav caused him to pay 30 shekels. Now the Ganav can go to the burner and say, pay me 30 shekels. Because you burnt my cookies, which were under my temporary ownership of Gneva, and if not for you burning them, then I would be able to pay them and get away with 0. But now you burnt it. Now I have to give the victim 30 shekels cash, and some cookies are expensive. Okay, not cookies. Red label, black label, blue label, I don't know, very fancy stuff. Now I have to pay him a few $100s because you burnt the whiskey. The whiskey, mimela what? Pay me this amount of money. That's the machlokes between Reb Shimon and Rabbanon. Now let's read. Reb Shimon Dover Dron moment kemom dami. Reb Shimon says that bottle of whiskey after Pesach is worth how much? 0. But indirect, it's a 0 that saves me the Ganav hundreds of dollars. Get me? Dover Garmey mama. It's like that small cranky wooden key opening a safe of thousands. Dover Garmey le moment is like money. Mechayev. So with the shtar also, he would be mechayev. He'd use the shtar as something that saves me or can bring me 1,000 shekels from Reuven's pockets. Very beautiful comparison. Ulrabbanon de Amri Dover Garmey moment, first wide line. Lavke moment dami. According to Rabbanon, said Dover Garmey moment is not like money. They say, no, I didn't take away from you anything. I burnt the chametz that's worth 0. I owe you 0. No, Dover Garmey moment is not moment. That's the key, and that's the money. They make this dichotomy between the cause and the effect. Here too, by shtar, Rabbanon would agree with you, Rabba, that the shtar is just means to an end. It's just a small key, and it's not the real 1,000, and it wouldn't be mechayev you. That's what Rabba wanted to say. Baskif Ravuna Baid Rav Yoshua. Ravuna Baid Yoshua attacks that, and he wants to distinguish and differentiate between the case of the chametz and the case of the shtar. You get the comparison so far? A shtar can get me money. This check, only this check can go to the bank, to Reuven's bank, and charge them and retrieve the money. And the chametz also, stolen chametz after Pesach, I can give it as a ganav, and get it off my back. Now you burnt the whiskey. Now instead of the non-existent whiskey, I have to give hundreds. It's the same thing. Now, Ravuna Rav Yoshua wants to distinguish between them. That is true that we heard Rabbi Shimon talking about something that causes money, something that brings about money, and it's considered like money itself. And the guy who burnt the chametz from the ganav has to pay him. That is only true. That is only true regarding something that originally was real money. Before Pesach, when the cookies were young and pretty and kosher, how much were the cookies worth? 30 shekels. How much was the whiskey worth? Which most expensive is blue label? No, blue label, whatever. $200. Yeah, that was worth a lot of money. And then it lost its shine. It lost its crown. And after Pesach, it's not worth any more. So it maintains the value. Let's see how the Gemara says it. Kedarabba, Rabba says, Doma Rabba, Gozel chometz lifnei Pesach. Now the Gemara is going to say the case which I told you before. A person stole chometz before Pesach. Uba acher came a third person, not the victim and not the ganav. He wants to do justice, to take the law into his hands and he came after Pesach, the Sofoi. Depends. He burnt the chametz. Who's he? A guy who took from the Ganev's house. He took the cookies or the whiskey and he burnt them. Ba moyed, if he burnt them when it came the time to burn. Now, moyed doesn't mean Pesach. That time of Bir Chometz, before the Shor Shishis. Potu. Seder, when the time is matin. It's true that during Yom Tov also, but you're right, actually. The Rishonim said the normal way. If the guy is a tzaddik and he came and he burnt it at the time of Bir Chometz and he's potter from paying, Shakol mitzuvim olav levaroi. Everyone is mechuyev to burn it in the time of burning. Le'achar Pesach. If you find a chometz in your house after Pesach, you're not allowed to use it with the Rabbanon. You're not mechuyev to burn it though. Don't chiyuv biur. Why? Because it's with the Rabbanon chometz achar Pesach, but it's still also to use. Achar Pesach. If you burnt it after Pesach, are you following the story? Reuven had cookies stolen by Shimon, stayed in Shimon in the house through Pesach. He's both a Ganev and he keeps it on Pesach. After Pesach came Levi, the burner, and burnt the cookies after Pesach. Machloikes. What's a machloikes? Now Shimon comes to Levi screaming at Shimon, why did you burn the cookies? Now, instead of giving the cookies back to Reuven, the victim, I now have to give him 30 shekels. I have to give him $200. That's a machloikes. Rabbi Shimon, the Rabbanon. What I said before, now the Gemara speaks it out. Why? Le Rabbi Shimon, beginning a new line. 1 second. Le Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, that says that an item that's worth zero, but can bring about money or bring about saving money, is that considered like money itself? The indirect value is value. Chayev. The burner has to pay the ganev. You can laugh, but that's halacha. He should pay the ganev. He's not a tzaddik either. Why is he taking law into his hands? He didn't even give it back to Reuven. He just burnt it. You burnt mechometz. You think you're a tzaddik? No, you chayev. If not for you, I'd give back the cookies. Now I have to give him $200 whiskey cookies. So pay me. Dover Garmey moment is like money. You stole from me or you burnt from me. What? Something that can save me money? It's like money itself. It's as if you burned $200 mamish. But Rabbanon, the Amri Dover Garmey moment, love, kimam and dami. Potu. Rabbanon say no. Something that can bring about money, but it's not money itself, is potu, because it's not considered as money. I stole away from you cookies that are worth zero. Omnam midarabanon. Right now they're worth zero. Nobody's allowed to eat chametz achar Pesach, right? You have to see in every store, by the way, in this country, that it should stay a label on the wall. Usually, the chametz was sold. You go to Tel Aviv, you go to Ranan and Netanya, you have to be aware of these things. They have to have a special teudah that the chametz in the store was sold. Otherwise, it's also to buy the chametz. Yeah. So now, a grand moment, lav kimam and dami. This chametz is worth zero. I took away from you zero. You would have saved money. Rabbana don't care about you would have saved money. That I didn't take money from you, says the burner to the gunner. Wait a second. Called zeh, that's only true. Remember, we're trying to differentiate now between chametz, Zachar Pesach, and the shtar with the money. That's true, B'dover she'ein. That's true in chametz. However, B'dover she'ein yikara mamoin. But the shtar was never money. The shtar was never ever worth anything more than half a shekel. Intrinsically, it was never worth anything. Mi amrinan. Would we say that? Let's summarize. When we talk about cookies, whiskey, pasta, burekas, blinches. If I was not online, I would say something about blinches, but I'm too embarrassed to say it. Yeah, I'll tell you later. Blinches, something nice and tasty before Pesach, is worth money. Afterwards, it lost its crown, right? After Pesach, not worth. Then Reb Shimon says, I maintain the previous value. I maintain still. These cookies are yummy. Tim McKenzie would love to have them. Yeah. And Mimela says, Reb Shimon, I maintain it. I still call it money. But the shtar was never worth anything more than a piece of paper that leads you to 5 million written in the check, written in the affidavit. While in Haisa, the shtar itself was never intrinsically worth anything. Now, I'm not saying now who's right, but Ravuna Berev has a point to differentiate and say, Lav Dafka could be that when it comes to Dover Sheh was always money and then became non-money, then Reb Shimon says what he says. But when it comes to something that was never money, maybe everybody would argue on Rabba. That's not good for Rabba. Maybe everybody would argue with Rabba. Everyone would possibly disagree with Rabba and say that what? That no, excuse me, no, I made a mistake. Made a mistake. No, everyone would agree with Rabba. Again, mistake. Rabba says that this shtar I don't have to pay for, because Rabba says it's only Dover Garmey moment. It's not called money. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, Rabba would say if I burnt the shtar, I'm a chayver potter according to Rabba. Potter. Rabba is why? Because Rabba says as opposed to the cookies after Pesach, which sort of retain the old value, shtar itself never had value. From its very beginning, its very conception, you get those checkbooks from the bank, the paper itself is worth maybe 10 agorot. I wrote 10 million in it. And thank you. That's Dover Garmey moment, which everybody would agree, says Rabba, that it's not money. And the guy's thought to, please let me get to the 2 dots, my good friends. Very, very easy now. And then we'll talk more. Amema basically summarizes. I don't know if you noticed how I'm tricking you all the time. We never said the word Garmey. So far, the Gemara never uttered the word Garmey. So why did I say Garmey? Look at the Gemara. Man the dain dina de Garmey, according to those Tanoim, Tanoim. Later on, Rabbi Meir is the Tana that's dain dina de Garmey, which means he believes Garmey, you should pay for Garmey. Happier? He says you should pay for Garmey. It's direct enough to pay for. Magbi bei dmei shtar me'alia. Then in the case of the shtar, you got to pay for the shtar. For the shtar. You know how much? 10 million. However much is written in the check. The one who does not believe in Garmey, which are Rabbanon, followed by Rabba, they magbi beidmei niyara be'alma. You know how much Levi would have to pay Shimon? 10 agorot. Maybe it's a very, very fancy paper. Maybe 20, 30 shekels from the best stationery shop. Yeah. But not 10 million, because they believe that Garmey, you don't dan dina de Garmey. You listen to the words of the Gemara. We're not dan the din. We don't have the judicial power to charge for the Garmey. That's what they believe, Rabbanon and Rabba. Listen to the final story. Hava uvda. There was once a case, once there was a real story of someone who burned someone's shtar. His name was Rav Ashi. Wow. Rav Ashi burnt the shtar. How come somebody like Rav Ashi can burn a shtar? Says Rashi B'Yaldusoi. He was very young. Maybe when he was very young, they don't know if he was a koton or maybe he was young, enthusiastic. Maybe he burned the shtar if somebody has a kanoi. Maybe he burned the shtar if somebody has open internet. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But when he was young, he did it. The Kafirei Rafram Rav Ashi, Rafram is the Dayan, forced Rav Ashi, the Agvibei Kikshur Letzalma. He was goyve, he charged him very, very well. He charged him through and through. I don't know what's the best expression in English. Through his pants or from A to Z, hook, line, and sinker. Kshura letzalma means kshura is a beam. Kshura is a beam. The best beam is called kshura, like a beam of wood, a log of wood. Letzalma is like a picture, like tzelem. So if you want to make a nice, not a statue that's also a statue that's mutter to do, a statue of, I don't know, a penguin, yeah? So then you take the best piece of wood. It's just an expression to tell us that he charged him from the best of his lands, from the best of his money. Yeah, he took from him for the Garmey. He believed that you do charge him full price, yes. In other words, if you want to know what's the halacha, it's a good question. The Gemara's final tone seems to be that you do have to pay for Garmey, because that was the story of Rafram and Rav Ashi. When Rav Ashi played Garmey, then Rafram made sure that he pays through and through. Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker, he paid him ba'abu, we say in Hebrew. Yeah, he had to pay the whole thing because he believed that Garmey should be charged and Garmey can be charged by the Jewish court. Baruch has been quiet for too long. Yeah. Chametz with the two dots. Chametz Bava Pesach, as we just said now to Baruch, yeah, a person had chametz. The chametz was stolen before Pesach and returned after Pesach. Physically, full bottle. He didn't even touch the Glenlivet. Doesn't drink chametz on Pesach, the Ganav. So the bottle of Johnny Walker of whatever stayed exactly the same. He says, here's your Johnny Walker, take it and go home. Oh! Now the Johnny Walker is worth 0, lo patli. Even though it's Isra or no, you can say it's hezek she'enoi nikal. It's not a visible nezek, not a visible change, and therefore take it and leave me alone. What happens if he lost the Johnny Walker, or he drank it, or it's down the drain? What should you do then? Then the Ganav would have to pay cash or maybe credit card. Yeah, they have to pay him instead. Okay? Says the Gemara. Frag the Gemara. Man Tana oimrin bisura no areshel chalafanecho. Who's the Tana? Who's the Tana who really says such a thing? Who comes to Isra no? How much is Isra no worth? 0. You can't drink it, you can't sell it, you can't smell it. Seriously, you can't do anything with it. So who says smelling is a question actually? But Lamaisa they say l'chumra not to smell chametz. I'm not joking. There's an issue about it. Yes, there is a shaila about it. L'chatchila. Yeah, but kol ma'avarech en be'emano is b'di'evid. L'chatchila to smell Isra no is an issue. Ask your local Orthodox rabbi to l'chatchila go by and sniffing the chametz, the beautiful smell of the blinches before Pesach. Ask the rabbi before you do that. It's not simple. Tempting.
It doesn't last very long. It hasn't got enough substance to say that.
I know. Kol mare v'reach ein be'emano, but many Rishonim say it's b'di'evet, not l'chatchila. It's not a consuming. B'di'evet you wouldn't have to pay me'ila or this and that, but l'chatchila is a different story. Oh, yeah, you don't have to block your nose if you go through. Let's leave that aside. It's not the issue now. I hear what you're saying now. Actually, yeah, I know about it. The chametz is the same chametz as before. Here it is. Who is the Tana who says that? Because I would argue and say chametz after Pesach is worth 0. Do you remember about the coin? Remember about the lira in the 70s and now in the 90s, the 2000? I want to give back the lira. What's the halacha? It was a machlokes amaroim. Some amaroim said that if all the malchus all over Israel completely disqualified the money out of circulation, I can't give it anymore. It's kilu mamish dirt, dust. So here by Isra no, very interesting. There is a Tana that says Isra no, even though it's worth 0, the Ganav can still return it and go home. Who's the Tana who says that? Does everybody agree to that? Let's see. Amar Rav Chizda. Says Rav Chizda, no, not everyone agrees to it. Rabbi Yaakovi, it's a single opinion of a single Tana, a Choshev Tana called Rabbi Yaakov, the Tanya. This takes us back to Daf, I think, Memhei. It says there, Rabbi Yaakov, Shor Shehimis. Let's say there's a shor that killed, a bull that, you should know this, my friends, a bull that killed a person. Okay, what do you do with that bull? Give it a prize? Yeah, you kill it. Do you kill it right away? No. There's a what? There's a court case. With how many dayanim? 23. It's a serious court case. A shor shehimis. Ad shelo nigmar dinoi. As long as the gavel was not down, as long as the trial was not yet over, they didn't yet label him as shol niskal, machroi machu. He can sell it to another person. He should be honest to tell the buyer that it's in the middle of the court case, but that's in the sale is the sale. Yeah, because the Maisa, it's still worth money. As long as it's not labeled as a show that was sentenced to death, it's still a show that runs around. Halachically, the show is worth a lot of money. Ekdishoy, mukdash. He could be makdish at the base of mikdash. And then what? And then they're not going to be cycle him. Yeah? Shachtoy, you shechted it. B'sorei mutar, kosher mehadrin. I shechted the bull in the middle of the process. That's a nice way out. I remember you guys were not so happy about it. Okay, maybe you can make xera if you want, but me'ikradin, you shechted the shore that's about to be niskal. You shechted it and go gesundheit, go to the ala'esh and do it. Echzira shomer lebe'olov, that's the most important part now. Let's say the show gored when it was under the shmira, the guardship of a shomer. Chinam socho, then, and now the guard wants to give the bull back to the owner, muchzal. The guard can tell the owner, take back your show, and you fight the case in Beis Din. Now, it's true that the guard, the shomer, would have to pay the victim of the goring, yeah? But the mice of him vis-a-vis the owner tells the owner, I'm so sorry that he gored when it was by me. I paid the victim. Now take your shore back. I'm not returning you 0. I'm returning you a show that is a valid, good, worthy show. Go and deal now with Beis Din. However, everything changes in a second. Mishenigmal dinoi, gavel down. The Dayan decided, the 23 Dayanim decided that that shore is what you guys call dead shore walking. Yeah, it's a dead shore alive. It's alive, but halachically dead. Once it was decided that it's sentenced to death, it's also no. All of you, noki. It's worth 0, like chametz bepesach. Mochroy eino mochu. A sale is not a sale. You can't sell a 0. Hekdishoy eino mukdash. Your makdish shit, it's not hekdish. Shochtoi b'soroy osu. You shechted it with the best hechsher in the world. Rav Mahmoud, Rav Rubin, Rav Landa, we're all there. It's tray for meat. Why? Because it's also bahano. Echziro shamal be'olov eino muchzar. Now the shomer gave it back to the owner. The owner says, excuse me, mister, you're giving me a show that's a dead shore walking. You're giving me a show that's worth 0. I gave you to look after my shore that was worth 10,000 shekels. Now it's worth 0. So that's not called returning. Give me back 10,000 shekels cash now. That's what the owner can say, right? You're giving me back 0. Rabbi Yaakov Omer, no. Says Rabbi Yaakov argues. Even if the sentence was already finished and he was sentenced to death, wow. Says Rabbi Yaakov, although the shore is worth 0, but physically, outwardly, visibly, visually, it's the same shore. Outwardly, he can give it back to him. Well, don't raise an eyebrow. That's exactly what chametz achar Pesach. So that's it. We found the man. The Tana that says, I can return an object that physically, gashmiistically looks the same, even though there's an Isser standing over it, is Rabbi Yaakov. Over there, it's in our Mishnah, it's chametz, cookies that look very yummy and gorgeous, but have Isser Pesach standing on it. And by the shore, it's a shore that looks very robust and young and healthy, too healthy, and it's worth 0 because it was sentenced. My love, look at the Gemara says it. I'll finish in a minute. That's a machloikis. The Rabbi Yaakov Sovar oimrin b'isur hano reshel cholofanecho. Must be that's a machloikis. Rabbi Yaakov says in isur hano you can say reshel cholofanecho. Here is your cookies, take them back. Here's your shor niskal, take it back. It's different, spiritually different. Go to a spiritualist in India. I'm saying it's not nishkan of kamina. Physically, it's the same. Take it back. That's our Mishnah. That's our Mishnah. Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbanon Savri. Ein omrim b'surano reshel cholofanecho. Bam bam bam. Rabbanon say no. Rabbanon say, and that's what Rabbanon would say in our Mishnah also. Rabbanon would say no. Isur no. How can you return something that's worth 0? Chutzpan. My shore was worth 10,000. The fact that jumping around and physically looks the same, who cares? It's worth 0. Don't give it back to me. Mimela, give me 10,000 cash. And Mimela, Jeff, Rabbanon, according to Rav Chizda, Rabbanon in our Mishnah would also argue in chametz. And Rabbanon would say that the Ganev who stole the whiskey and the cookies and the blinches and the burekas and his whatever and the pizza, he has to give back cash. You burn your stupid chametz because it's worth 0. Give me cash now. That's what Rabbanon would say. Basically, Rav Chizda says that our Mishnah, although it does not mention machloikis, our Mishnah only follows the opinion of one single opinion of Yaakov, not everybody else. Now Rabba is going to argue with Rav Chizda, and that's going to be tomorrow. Thank you very, very much. Tizku l'mitzvos.